Well, why don't we give this a look and a talk? Now, of course, well, we are broadcasting this live on Twitch. I am recording this for YouTube for posterity. Hello in the future, anyone who watches us on YouTube. Welcome from the Hero Zone, a friendly local game store where we take what we do in the physical store and we bring that concept online, where you are welcome at our virtual tables. Let's sit down and talk, answer questions, teach a game, sort of demo it, talk about it, have a fun interactive time. You think you died to a faulty door closing on you? Yep, that does sound like something that would happen. Now, about an insta-kill, well, maybe depending on the character. Something like that could happen. But tonight, we are going to begin our second workshop week about character creation. Last week, we approached the game as if it was sitting on my shelf at the store, and I saw you interested, and I said, hey, what can I answer about this game? What would you like to learn about it? Hi, Rip Artist. I hope you're feeling better. And from there, we talked about the overarching rules. We went over how to build your dice pool and the general gist of things. Because, of course, you don't know what you're going to need to build or throw until you got to build or throw it. But that was the basic broad overview. And now, if we're having this roleplay exercise of you being interested in a game that is not, something more mainstream, which is fine, because other games exist, and I promise you can have a lot of fun in other games. Do not let them be scary. Do not let them, do not be baffled by them, or don't go, I don't know. I've already invested so much time in this other game. If you run it, you will find players. If you are willing to ask people behind the counter, or if you find a community that can answer questions that you have, even more better. And the way that this book is laid out, it is very approachable, it is very friendly. This is not a very crunchy game. There is not minutia. There's not a rule for everything. Now, this isn't a one-page RPG like Feelings and Lasers, but this also isn't Pathfinder 2nd Edition. If we want to go from one-page, minimalist to a system where there is a rule for everything that you might want to do. And I'm not saying that in an insulting way towards Pathfinder, because there are many people who love the detail, who love the extreme customization of things. Some people want to play Mario Kart. Some people want to play what would be a very popular, more realistic racing game like Forza or something, where you can tune the suspension of the virtual physics in this racing game. So there's a something for everyone. Nothing modern approaches the brain-frying complexity of Rolemaster. I have not heard of that, Valandar, so I will trust you, I suppose. Also, Artemis Rose Moon, howdy to you, welcome. So Ked, we're gonna discuss both. Because I want to introduce the concepts that there are two modes of play. But we'll be building this more in the campaign style. Pardon. And along the way, if any of you have any questions, you are welcome to ask. DQ has played a lot of Alien RPG, although I'm not going to put you on the spot. You're off of work, DQ. You're not here to work. And we got the book. we'll go forward from here. Now, before we do, I made an intro trailer to our 3-part custom game. It was supposed to start. It was supposed to start technically 2 Tuesdays ago, but me getting back from a retailer convention that took place for most of the week before, and this week with me getting sick, that has been pushed back. But I do like to go above and beyond and make something nice. And in order to get in the Alien mood, in order to try and convey to those of you who watch what kind of a game might you be expecting with Alien RPG, maybe not maybe specifically Red Space, which is the name I gave to the 3-parter that I'm going to run for my Xenomorphs, Valendar the Red being one of them. But I do want to feature this. I do want to show this to you all, and I hope that you all will enjoy. Now, this isn't the final polished version. It is the near finished. Because I got sick, and I couldn't work on it. I couldn't finish it in time because there's a lot of other stuff that needed doing. But I would love to hear your feedback on this as well. And there we go. I hope it was enjoyable, and I hope that this was able to convey the feeling of what you can hope for in an Alien RPG game. The sense of wonder, the exploration, the lethality of the combat, and the horror that awaits. And Ked, I agree. There is some beautiful art in this book, and it is it really can help. Well, number one, in the layout of things, the art makes sense to create psychological gateways of, oh, it was the section with that picture. But the art itself is very inspirational, and you can use that to easily provide a reference point to generate ideas and, things to present to your players if you are the game mother. Also, Ready to Nap, hello and welcome to you. It's good to see you here. DQ, it looks like you approve of the trailer here. Working has seriously affected my ability to follow. Well, Ready, I would rather you be working and that you are, you're doing something that you know how to do, you're comfortable doing, and especially with how you got that job, it was it was a very wholesome turnaround of things. Ked says, I've been talking with both Terran and BWB lately about various Free League systems. Sadly, I don't think Alien is talked about enough compared to some of the others. There's a few reasons for that, Ked. I don't know your conversation. Maybe I touch on it, or maybe I'm wildly off, because I don't know your relationship or conversation with them. And I only know them tangentially, and not as well as you do. Hi, Brewfrost. Good to see you. There's an averseness to horror. Either because people don't like horror, personally, or they may really love horror, but they're used to receiving the horror through movies or novels, but they don't know how to deliver the horror. Because compared to Pathfinder, compared to D&D, where, the general concept is, it's a beautiful horizon, we have unlimited adventure through the power of camaraderie, and through the power of friendship, we're gonna, defeat evil, and the sky's the limit. We're gonna overthrow, God after, a month of adventuring outside of our farming village, kind of a thing. And that's where most people draw a lot of experience and having that big open playground. There's not as much experience in some grand scheme with people keeping things tight, with people keeping things on an edge without going over the edge, or without maybe spoiling the surprise or wearing out the welcome of the suspense. As horror needs more tending when it comes to cliffhangers and surprises and revelations than other types of stories to be told. There you go, Ked. This is one way to go about it. Because horror, man, and the horror is such underserved because it is something that we all fear. It is visceral to us. It is an instinctive part of it is hardwired into us as a species. But you can do it in a way that it comes off as, B-movie, as clownish. You can, you could drop the ball on the pacing, or you overdo something. And so it really is walking a fine line. And so that's why there's a lot of people who, not that they don't enjoy horror, but they would rather receive the horror than express the horror. With that, would the Hyperion book series be considered horror? I'm not familiar with the series, Brufro, so I can't tell you. Maybe someone else in chat can. And often, too, you know, for the predictability of horror, oftentimes you only need to do one thing that is different. And that creates the organic butterfly effect of thrills, of horror, and things along those lines. But if you explain too much, if you destroy the atmosphere, if you answer too many questions, then the horror disappears. I think there are horror elements. The Shrike isn't very well explained in the Hyperion series, which is good. There you go. Brufros and Ked, you two are... Please continue, and I will observe, because I like hearing other people talk about things they know about and I don't, so I can learn. In case someone ever asks me a question similar. So in that case, there's a lot of other topics where people find a familiarity. And so many might just by default more easily be able to express an adventure story or an action story because they've seen a ton of action movies or things along those lines. People watch online play of games, whether it's like it's super popular, like a Critical Role, where, you know, some scary things can happen or they fight a ferocious monster, but that's not horror. Oh, Streaking Sheep, thank you very much. Depends on why someone might want to play as well. If they just want a fun escape, the horror would be in the wrong genre, which is super fine. Now, I mean, you can run this like a schlocky B movie too. And I hope that is I hope that's not going to be a secret about games like this. If you love horror, you can still enjoy the Scary Movie series. You can enjoy Tremors, yeah. You can enjoy Mel Brooks's Dracula Dead and Loving It. And you can run something like that. In fact, Alien, the first Alien, is a very different movie from Aliens, the sequel, and both are good. And they address the same thing in two different ways. Yeah, Ked. So, but if you see Alien RPG on the shelf of a friendly local game store, you might say, oh, well, this has to be run like Alien or Alien Isolation, which is a very good video game that will immerse you. You know, if you're unfamiliar with the subject matter or whatever, or the look or the aesthetics, the feel, that can help immerse you that way too. But you can run action, you can run just straight up suspense and horror. But I think, you know, being behind the counter as literally and metaphorically as I have in all these years, if you see something that's either specifically branded or something that's outside your normal, well, your normalcy, you see this other item and you go, I have to treat it with a certain reverence, or maybe I have to know a lot about Alien in order to play this, and I don't know a lot. It looks interesting, but I don't know. I don't think I can do this game justice. And I want to tell you all that is nonsense. And I really hope that you all will look at stuff like this and pick it up. Give it a try. Pour through it. Whether or not you want to watch any of the Alien movies or read the novels, play the video games, go to AVP stuff, or comics, that kind of a thing. you can dive as far into that as you want, but this is such a new player friendly system that lean into it and just have fun and tell a spaceship spooky story. Do you have to know every detail about the aliens? Heck no. You can still have a fun time. And if you want to go on a bug hunt and everything is the sci-fi equivalent in D&D of kicking in the door and fighting monsters, do it. Open up every cargo bay door and unload your pulse rifles and just let the action flow, because you can. So don't think of it like this is some mystical thing that you can't modify, or, well, I'm not a fan, so I probably shouldn't play. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. Yep, I agree, Ked. Australis, hello. I mean, the Free League games are much less forgiving and take the kid gloves. The combat's lethal compared to D&D and Pathfinder. Oh yeah. It's not as kid glove as those systems, yeah. Oh yeah, it can be a gateway into the lore, Brufros. Reddy says, man, I have to remember the sci-fi book I own about humans going to a new world where collective thought creates real manifestations, like 25 different Jesuses, vampires, werewolves, etc. So that's my pitch. That's my encouragement, right? Pick it up, play it. That was last week. What's the approach? Mwahaha, right, Infinity? Oh, welcome back, Jurassic. All right. Your player character, PC, is your most important asset in the Alien role-playing game. They are your avatar on an alien world. They are your eyes and ears out there in the deepest dark of space. You munch on popcorn with friends and roll dice while they take all the risks. There is an unwritten binding agreement between you two, and like any corporate contract, there is a catch. You live vicariously through them, and they in return depend on you to keep them alive. Don't screw it up. Take your PC seriously. As far as you're concerned, they are real. They are a real person, and their fate is in your hands. No matter what you do, keep in mind your character's goals, hopes, and agenda. They may differ from your personal beliefs, but that's okay. You're playing a character, and this is a game. Thank you. A disclaimer like that is very good. When a xenomorph looms over them, your character may be terrified even when you aren't. At all times, ask yourself, what would my PC do? And have them act accordingly. At the same time, don't try to protect your character from every conceivable danger. The goal of any Alien game is twofold. Go on a suspense-filled thrill ride and create a damn good story. For that to happen, you need to roll the dice, both figuratively and literally. You'll need to take risks. So, we have our character sheet, and we'll go over it. This is it, by the way. This is the entire character sheet. And I hope this doesn't look too scary. I mean, if it does, we'll go over it, don't worry. But this is it. It's not 4 pages. You're not doing algebra when it comes to making your character or conducting behavior through your character. This is it. Now, there are 2 types of play, and Ked had brought them up: cinematic play and campaign play. One is for think like modules in D&D talk, pre-written adventures, things where you're taking you're asking some friends or family members, sit at my table and I'm going to take you on a haunted house ride, right? You're going to take them through a scenario. You are playing through a movie. Things are going to happen. And you've already sort of pre-contrived some things. Like, oh, the scientist has a side goal of, they got to get the sample out of the base. Now, do they have to? No, but it's beneficial if they do. Campaign play is for longer, maybe more custom stories or things where you can take some more time, have some more detail. The characters aren't pre-written, so there's not exactly as much pre-drama or we're starting out as enemies in this way, that kind of a thing. Pardon. How to create your player character. Choose your career. Spend points on your attributes. Spend points on your skills. Choose your career talent. Choose your name. Decide on your appearance. Decide on your personal agenda. Choose your buddy and your rival. Pick your gear and signature item and roll for cash. 10 steps, and a step of that is choose your name. This is not going to be a complex thing. Please believe me. And you might say, oh, well, I get it, and that's cool, but surely, and don't call me Shirley, I can't have a complex or nuanced character with such a simplistic display of stats. Incorrect. This is a game that encourages you to narrate much of what your character thinks, feels, or provides reasoning for doing, if there even is. Because sometimes you might be so scared you are whacked out of your gourd. You might be 12 cans short of a 6-pack after you saw what just happened in that room. You do not need numbers to tell you what your character is thinking or feeling. You do. And this game encourages that kind of immersion. So the math is simpler. I wouldn't say it's necessarily more of a complex character because of that, but there is more of a reliance on that relationship that this chapter opened up with. You are the pilot of this character. And it's up to you because we are creating this story. You are, you're pitching a movie script to your, game mother, your GM, or to the others. You're coming up with that next awesome comic book, that kind of a thing. And you can lean into that. You can be as schlocky as you want with that, and you can go hard into movie tropes. The book actually encourages it. I forget exactly where, but it says to, right? If you need to, do it. So don't look at this and both be baffled or think, oh, well, the character sheet's not telling me that charisma is my dump stat, so I don't know how to... No. If you think it is, because there's not really charisma, that's up to you. You don't need a piece of paper telling you that. Have a good night, Reddy. Hi, Awkward Mancer. You're going slightly mad. Why are you going mad, Awkward Mancer? Sorry if I missed some stuff in chat. If any of you need me, just let me know and I can scroll back up to it. All right. So, step 1, choose your career. The first choice in your character in campaign play is your career. Your career choice determines your background and your role in the group. It influences your attributes, your skills, your starting gear, and what starting talent you can have. There are 9 core careers to choose from, described later. Career descriptions can feel stereotypical, and they are meant to. Picking a career is a quick way for you and the other players in the group to get an immediate feel for your character. But remember that your character is more than just a career. Your career is merely a starting point toward creating a unique player character. Now, for those of you, and most of us have met through Dungeons and Dragons, whenever we built D&D characters, one of the last things that we rolled was the class of the character. Because that explains how your character acts, or like how your character conducts him or herself. What was the thing that we focused on the most when we built characters in D&D? The background. Who your character is. And so that is always important in any role-playing game, because you are role-playing. Who is your character? So, you know, the career is important. That is going to be a how you go about things. But don't necessarily let that dictate all who your character is. If you go, well, I'm an elf fighter. Well, congratulations. What do you want me to do with that information? You got pointy ears and you probably poke something with a sharp end of a weapon. But that doesn't tell me about your character, right? And you could say in Alien RPG, I'm a pilot. Okay. What do you pilot? Some sort of war machine? A tractor on a colony? You know, a space bus? Are you the pilot of a big mining rig, or someone who captains expeditions down to planets to mine or something? Right? So don't let that sort of a thing define your character. Your attributes. Your character has 4 attributes that indicate your basic physical and mental capabilities, each rated on a scale from 1 to 5. Your attributes are used when you roll dice to perform actions in the game, and also to determine how much damage you can withstand before you become broken. Capital B broken, because that is a rule word. Read more about this later. Strength, raw muscle power and brawn, agility, body control, speed and motor skills, wits, sensory perception, intelligence and sanity, empathy, personal charisma, empathy, and ability to manipulate others. You see here? Attribute, 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 attribute. You see how these are 4 core things to your character? They're right in the middle. And these are going to feed into your skills, the 3 skills off of each attribute. And you'll see how this will blossom out, okay? Oh, no, come on. Sorry, hang on, everyone. I don't know why my reader does this. It's not like I'm chugging on memory on this rig. It is, it's aggravating when the PDF reader does this. And it's not a bootleg thing. This is a legit copy. I bought it. So, uh-oh. Duragrax, here we go. Let's break it down. Duragrax Raid. And let's give you a shout out. Thank you very much for coming over to our Alien RPG character creation raid. There we go. Shout outs to you. Thank you. And I would love to hear what was going on over in your D&D game. Yeah, maybe that's it, Australis. Yeah. But yes, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. And if any of you who came over in the raid have questions, you are welcome to ask along the way, as we are building a character, or we're reviewing characters in Alien RPG. When you create your player character for campaign play, you may distribute a total of 14 points across your attributes. You may assign no less than 2 and no more than 4 to any attribute. However, you may assign 5 points to the attribute listed as the key attribute for your career. Now, you can play as a synth, as an android. They have a slightly different take here. Synthetic characters get a +3 bonus to 2 attributes of their choice after the 14 attribute points have been assigned, and can reach a maximum score of 8 in the key attribute and 7 in another. However, androids have other drawbacks, and see the sidebar. We only have a 1-star rating. Thank you. I love dad jokes and puns and wordplay. Chris and Rue. Thank you for that. I am now slightly more immortal for absorbing that kind of a joke. Oh, Andrew. Okay. I didn't know if it was like a duo. It's Chris and Ro. I'm not sure what the nickname would be, but there you go. Or it's Chris and Rodent of Unusual Size. Well, I guess we'd need an S on there. R-O-U-S. But Chris Andrew, then. Thank you very much. Although, Chris, for all I know, maybe you do have an unusually large rat as a pet. So there you go. We can extrapolate all sorts of circumstances. Skills. Your skills are the knowledge and abilities you have acquired during your life. They are important as they determine, along with your attributes, how effectively you can perform certain actions in the game. There are 12 skills in the game, and they are all described in detail in Chapter 3. They are measured by skill level on a scale of 0 to 5. The higher the number, the better. No skill level? You can always roll for a skill even if you have no level in that skill. In that case, you only use the associated attribute for the skill in question, plus any modifiers from relevant gear. Read more later. Starting skill levels. When you create your player character for campaign play, you distribute a total of 10 points amongst your skills. You can assign up to 3 points to each of the skills listed in your career. You can then assign a single point to any other skills you choose. You can increase your skill levels during the game, as you level up, as you do. Now, let's take a quick look. Let's go back to here. Do you see off of strength, we have 3 skills. We have attribute strength, attribute strength, attribute strength. Okay? Or attributes, yeah, as our skills. Heavy machinery, close combat, and stamina. Off of wits, we have attribute wits. We have observation, survival, and comtech. Off of our empathy attribute, we have AE. I guess we're playing Titan AE. Did any of you see the Titan AE cartoon movie? And if so, did you like it? And off of agility, we have the 3 skills of piloting, mobility, and ranged combat. Now you might go, whoa, hold on a second. What in tarnation? Actually, if we do this, I might make it a little bit. But I've played role-playing games where there's 11 billion skills. How am I supposed to operate within the realms of only 12 skills? Find one that's close. Pitch it to your GM. Right? Talk, negotiate. What would your character do? How would you use heavy machinery to fix a car? And maybe if your character might have heavy machinery, but really have no skill with a car, maybe your GM says, I'm sorry, I'm not going to allow the roll. Or the other way around. You know what? That's really clever. I never thought about allowing you to make a pilot check for a piece of scrap metal going down like a water leaking pipe. Kind of like the kids in Goonies going down the water slide to the cave where the pirate ship is. You know what? You sold me. You got it. Right? Use your words. Use your imagination. Pitch your PC's actions and thoughts. And use, don't rely on math to tell your story. Rely on you. As a human being, you are hardwired to tell and receive and appreciate stories of various kinds. Believe in yourself. Titan AE and Treasure Planet, so good, says Ked. One of your favorite animated movies? It's the first you've heard of Titan AE, Rip Artist. Never saw it. I was onto action movies as a kid when Titan AE came out. Movie was amazing, says Jurassic. Yeah, Rifts? Ked. I know Rift. I've played through Rifts too. You're like, alright, so there's 11 billion skills and we need about 30 different dice. And we'll do this, right? Uh-oh, Dat Boy Nate's coming in on a raid too. This is great energy, everyone. I need this energy, the love, the raids, the chat and interaction. I'm getting over being sick, and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Thank you for coming over with this type of energy here. So let's give a shout out to Dat Boy Nate 795. Hey, I got it right the first time. Both times. Although just be careful if any of you watch Titan AE. If you're wearing pearls, prepare to clutch them. There is a but. Oof. I'm sorry. That might be a no-go for some of you out there. Which actually, back when the movie came out, that did cause a lot of pearl clutching. And it's interesting as a time capsule of, I guess, how media content, acceptability, or just a comfort level of things have changed over time. So, but yes, I'm sorry to tell you, everyone, there is a but in Titan AE. So here we go, right? Here's the core of our character. We have our 4 attributes. Each of those attributes has 3 skills associated with it. Cool. Not too complex so far, right? And by the way, the example that is going step by step is just that. It's very well done. Talents are tricks, moves, and minor abilities that give you a small edge. They are more specialized than skills and make your character unique. Talents are further explained later. If any of you are coming over from a fantasy game like Pathfinder or D&D, I have a D&D shirt. Some of you may be familiar with this game. Think of those kind of like feats. Goblin of Gygaxanor. In with a scandalous Titan TNA. Oh my. When creating a character for campaign play, you get 1 talent at the start of the game. Your career offers you 3 talents to choose from. Never use a preposition to end a sentence with, from which you may choose. Your career offers you 3 talents to choose from. You can learn more talents during the course of the game, at which point you will have many more talents to choose from. Urians, hello! Yes, there we go. Throwing the horns back to you, my friend. Rock on. Cheat commandos, rock on. Now, the note about playing an android, because it's the same thing but different. Androids are an important part of the Alien role-playing game, and you can play one as your player character. Androids are rare, however, and we recommend that you talk it through with the rest of the group before creating an Android PC for a campaign game. For my xenomorphs in the Red Space game that I'm going to be presenting here, I did tell them no, none of you are playing androids. Are they super complex? Not necessarily, but I want to keep things more simple and straightforward. Most androids look human. They can have any career and may be open about their nature or secretly pose as human. Rules-wise, androids work a little differently from humans. And then there's a list there. You can read it. I'm not going to go over that in excruciating detail because it's going to be the same thing as a human, but different. And you can go to page 29 to read about that. Stress. This is the big mechanic of the game. This is the push your luck part of the mechanics. And this can create a lot of fun and a lot of laughs and maybe a couple tears as well, as you build up stress as a way to help reinforce the story being told in a mechanical fashion. DQ says best feats in Alien are run and away. Health, hit points, how much damage you can take before you're broken. You get an amount of starting health equal to your strength. So, since her strength attribute is 5, Nat gets a starting health of 5 in the example. Nice and easy, right? Let's go over here. And your health is based off of strength. So let's say that you have, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, if that was the case. Okay, boom. Also, if anyone's interested, if there are other similar systems, the Alien RPG is based off the Mutant Year Zero system. So if you like one, you'll probably like both. Yes, excellent point, Ted. I did not bring that up. Thank you. And the Gunder. Thank you very much for the follow. That brings us one more person closer to our goal of 4,000 Twitch followers. I guess a quick little self-promotion. If I don't shill for myself, who will? I know, hold on. But this might be worth hearing, especially if you're new here. To celebrate hitting 4,000 Twitch followers, I'm going to be giving away a $400 pre-painted Gargantuan Tiamat with free US shipping. I will announce how I will be giving out that miniature, and I promise the hoops to jump through are not going to be rigorous and on fire. Because I want this to go out to someone. I want someone to have an amazing time with this. But as a thank you to all of you who have been here one step at a time over the course of these years, because we're now in our 6th year of broadcasting. When I hit 4K followers, I will be announcing how I am giving away a Gargantuan Tiamat miniature. It is pre-painted. She'll be shipped out to you and ready to go. So, Gunder, and those of you who have also followed, I'm grateful I've earned that follow, and just know that you're helping yourself and everyone else to get that much closer to this giveaway. Yeah, Tiamat again. Although you will also need to be on our Discord, !Discord, since that's where I run our events. It also makes it easier to communicate about where should Tiamat go and to whom. All right, anyway, let's get out of D&D mode and get back into some aliens. Pardon. Oh, this was a step of it. The name. Oh, I got to give a name to my character. Terrible. 2 out of 10. I would not recommend. Appearance? I have to think about this stuff? Garbage tier? Never playing this. Sarcasm, everyone. Sarcasm. Now, I do love that this game does encourage personal agendas. You know, there are goals that, to which you should strive. You might be a team, but each individual PC in your group also has an angle of their own, a personal agenda. How personal agendas work differs between cinematic and campaign play. In cinematic play, the PC's agendas are predetermined. So I'm the Grand Puppet Master, I'm the script writer, I'm going to seed conflict already in your characters, and you're going to pick up your character, go, aha, got it. And then we kind of play murder mystery, right? In campaign play, you can pick one of the suggested personal agendas listed in your career, or you can come up with one of your own. At the end of each game session, discuss the agendas of all PCs together. If you have taken some concrete action to further your agenda during the session, despite risk or cost, you gain a bonus experience point. Yes, absolutely, Urians. Australis says, I mean, if names and appearance offend you, Free League got you covered. Just play the cinematic. I know, I'm being completely sarcastic. Like, oh, man, I gotta take all these steps with character creation. I have to name my character? But if you don't, that's true. You can pick up one of the 3 mods. The starter set is part 1. There's even kind of a prequel in the back of the core book. But then there's a 3-part series that has been released as well. Buddies and Rivals. The Alien role-playing game is about a small group of people facing unknown and horrifying dangers in the cold darkness of space. To survive, you need to find someone to trust, but also be careful who you turn your back to. In game terms, your PC can have one buddy and one rival amongst the other PCs. You can only have one of each. Your relationships are important for the GM, as she can use them to create interesting situations in the game. In campaign play, you can choose one PC to be your buddy and another to be your rival. In cinematic scenarios, the choice is made for you. It kind of bakes in some tension. See if this fixes it. Hey, there we go. There's a blurb about player versus player because that might happen, and sometimes that's actually good. How many times have you seen a horror movie and the surviving group is infighting despite, the zombie horde at the gates of their shelter, or despite a group of supposedly highly trained Marines that are being infiltrated by bugs and all this other stuff, right? And yet they're fighting because how are we going to do this? And the guy's freaking out and someone's running to the gates to throw them open. We're all dead anyway. Let's get it over with. This is a game, not necessarily where it's encouraged, but if it happens, it happens. And you will hopefully have a very fun, and it'll cause a nice dramatic effect where everyone can enjoy, in the ultimate out of character sense, what occurs. Yeah, where it fit the game and it felt right, Urians. I agree. Yeah, when the party splits, DQ. Yeah, literally all of The Walking Dead, says Jurassic Spark. Stand. We'll try again. All right, hello. And we're back. The Gunder says the music got scarier without the friendly voice. By the way, while I didn't do that purposely, as the GM, if you're playing, especially over remote, there's a lot of things you can do to increase tension with your players. And something like that could be part of it. All right, well, hey, we're back. Hello, I have a voice. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Okay. So your signature item. Now, this isn't just like, okay, I have a ration, I have a gun, I have a flashlight. In addition to your normal gear, you also have a signature item, a small item that's not of much practical use, but that has sentimental value to you and that says something about your character. Signature items are usually tiny and thus don't encumber you at all. Common examples include a patch, a cap, or a photo of a loved one. In the example, Nat, the Roughneck, has a tattoo of her dead partner's name on the inside of her lower right arm. And vehicles and spaceships, they're there. I'm not going to get into the weeds with all the stats and stuff, but you might ride in a vehicle or pilot a spaceship. It is there. Encumbrance. Oh no, math. We got to worry about encumbrance now too. You carry a number of regular sized items equal to double your strength rating without problems. A regular item is generally the size of a small bag and weighs no more than a few kilos. Now, I don't know what that is in freedom units, so I'm wildly... is that a refrigerator? Is... Heavy and light items. An item designated as heavy counts as 2 regular items, and typically takes up 2 rows on your character sheet. Some heavy items count as 3 or even 4 normal items. The gear lists in Chapter 6 of the book indicate this. At the opposite end of the spectrum, there are items that are designated as light. They count as half of a regular item, and so you can list 2 items in 1 row on your sheet. Some light items count as a quarter of a normal item in terms of encumbrance. The weight of such items is written as 1/4 in the gear lists. I'm close. I'm across Lake Erie. I'm in, my store's in Sandusky, Ohio. Now, if you see here, gear, there are 10 slots. Now, why could they, or like, why are they saying, well, a big item takes up 2? If you are in a space vessel, a vessel, if you will, you have limited amounts that you can carry on you, that you can clip on, that you can, you're not necessarily Master Chief with like 10 weapons that you can just select from and be able to grab. So the gear, as it's listed, a nuclear vessel, is personal space, and you can fill the personal space with items. Within the personal space of your gear, you can carry certain amounts or weights. Now, there are broad concepts of weights. However, this system favors a lot of cinematic style storytelling. You have bullets until it's dramatic that you don't. you don't necessarily need to count every meal that you've eaten. Now, we do have food as a consumable, but for the most part, in normal circumstances, you don't count your bullets, you don't count how many swigs of water you have left, you don't need to worry about boot shred degradation, you don't need to worry about a lot of things. Because when the stress hits the fan, that's when you're not going to have things. So you have it until you don't. They did. And a horror game isn't going to have normal circumstances for very long. But I say this as a way that I don't want people to get scared off, like, oh, am I going to have to track? You know, am I firing single, a 3-round burst, full auto? But some full autos are 10, some full autos are 6. Like, oh my god, no, don't worry. Like, there's things kind of for that, but don't worry about the minutia. Worry about having fun and playing a character in a horror story. And so if you might have a gun, and then you might also have a big gun. And your big gun is just that. It might take up 2 slots. And then you might have, if a reload for your big gun is tiny, or was light, you can put 2. So you might go reload, reload. As you are filling your personal space with what it is you can carry. Now, your GM might tell you that you can have more stuff on your gear, but generally you have a limited amount of quickly accessible inventory items that you be able to reliably grab, or that can travel with you as you're trying to crawl through ductwork, climb up and down things, etc., etc. And so we can carry a number of regular-sized items equal to double our strength. And in this case, if it was 5, then our encumbrance would be 10. Okay? And then our encumbrance, we can match what we have next to our gear. You might drop your weapon. That is very much one of the panic rolls. Oh yeah, and by the way, as Awkward Mancer put out there, have fun with technobabble and stuff like that. Tiny items, you can be over encumbered. I don't want us to get lost in the weeds for a lot of this stuff. Encumbrance, oh, wouldn't you know, it's a rule block right there on 34. You can always go back to it, and the rules are laid out as such. If you're ever confused, it is easily accessed and indexed. Consumables. This is talking about what happens if you do need to survive for several days before help comes. If the stress is mounting because you're losing heat, air, water, if you haven't been able to sleep because things keep trying to chase you and give you hugs, you know, you're playing a different difficulty level of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, which is maybe an alternate working title for Alien RPG, is Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Bane, hello! They're locking the air outside. So, read it. For the most part, you as a player should be aware of it. This is something that is going to come up more when you don't have it. So when to make supply rolls, how much of, if you want to load up on water, how much of your gear would it take, that kind of a thing, it's right there. Experience. And this is telling you how to spend your experience. You've roleplayed, you survived. Maybe you didn't, and it's time to roll a new character, but you know what? You've been doing such a good job. Here's your EXP pool for, you find a survivor next session, and there we go. Pardon me, sorry. Who knew soda made you burp? That's dumb. There's no warning labels on that stuff. So these are ways to award experience. It leans into role-playing. Were you pursuing your agenda? Even if it kind of screwed someone else over, you might get that extra XP for it. Did you risk your life for a buddy, etc., etc.? This is how you spend it. This is how you can change your buddy and your rival, because you can. And now what we're going to do, I'm going to get up and take a little bit of a walk and stretch. I'm going to make sure that I'm refreshed. And when I come back, since we've gone over the basics, we've introduced the concept of the characters to you all, I want to go over the different the different careers that you can play in this system. And we can talk about the talents and other such things. But I want to get up and take a quick break. So give me a couple minutes, everyone, and we'll come back, and this will be our next section to explore. This would be, this is how your character will do things, but don't let this be all of your character. So be right back, everyone.